Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. This is Truth News. I am Walter Bass. I didn't have a lot of time to prep for today's show. The 10 hours of working, 2 days at the gym, and having to combat the lies, the deception, the trafficking, the domestic terrorism by the United States government for 1,714 days. Is exhausting, and if my hair looks white today, it's because I was painting all day, as you can see. So that's why my hair is extra white today. It's not gray, it's white paint. And I will take a shower before bed, so we get clean every day. Let's see what we got going on in the news today. There's so much to talk about, so much to go over. First, let's pay some acknowledgement to a serial child predator. State Judge Kelly Hansen, 17 years worth of victims of children he has kidnapped, raped, molested, tortured, murdered, and sold. That's right, using his position as a state judge and those magical words of qualified immunity to just commit crimes against humanity, using children to do so nonetheless, and actually attacks anyone who tells the truth. So let's make this man famous. There he is. That's a scumbag. That's a serial child rapist, a predator, a murderer, posing as a state judge in the United States of America, Marietta, California to be exact, Riverside County. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, well, Tel Aviv bought another congressional seat last night, if you didn't catch that news, and I found out some interesting notes. I'm going to say the word Thomas Massie, and, on top of all the other trigger words I've said, like raping children, child sex trafficking, kidnapping. You can't tell the truth about what the United States government does, or should I say the Tel Aviv government at this point, because everybody knows who owns America. Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Netanyahu. We are subordinate to Israel. The United States of America is no more. We are the Israeli States of America. As we learned last night, it's $35 million to buy a U.S. congressional seat in Kentucky. $35 million. But, of course, Miriam Adelson has no problem shelling out that kind of money. She gave our president, I think, $100 or $200 million. So Miriam Adelson is just buying the United States government piece by piece. And everyone is happy to take her money and do her bidding. And along with Netanyahu and anybody else that has big money, whether it's Sinaloa Cartel, Tel Aviv, Netanyahu, anyone with money, you can come on into America and buy our government. Our government's for sale. It's not for the people. It's for sale. Pretty blatant and obvious. And what did Thomas Massie do to lose his congressional seat, or to be bought out, should I say? Well, he voted for the Epstein files and wanted to tell the truth about the world's largest child sex trafficking ring operated by the United States government, and it goes worldwide. Known as the Epstein files. There's another trigger word that I'm going to get shadow banned for. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. And I'll get into the shadow banning later on in the show. I just found this out from Nate from Valhalla just moments ago. But yeah, he voted for the Epstein files to expose the world's largest child sex trafficking ring being operated by the United States government, the intelligence agencies, and law enforcement, judges, U.S. attorneys, basically anybody that has a fetish for children can come over to the United States and just have all the fun you want with our children. And he wanted Israel to register under the Foreign Agent Registration Act, FARA, which the last person to request that was John F. Kennedy Jr., and we all know how that turned out. And so there we are. Then there's another person who lost their congressional seat for voting for the Epstein files. Marjorie Taylor Greene gave up her career along with Thomas Massie. So there's two people that prove Tel Aviv is buying United States congressional seats, or taking them, I should say. And we had the Kabuki Theater Show of Congress going on yesterday and today with Todd Blanche up there sounding like a sniveling, whining little brat and just blatantly committing perjury on the floor of the United States Congress, which is a felony. That's a crime. But he doesn't care. I mean, he's Todd Blanche. What are you going to do, arrest him? What are you going to do, arrest the Department of Justice? And speaking of Kabuki theater and staged and propaganda in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, and this is really exhausting. It's becoming exhausting to be a U.S. citizen and operate under this, which reminds me I need to read the First Amendment. I usually open every show reading it. I did not do that tonight. So I don't want to be put on another mental health hold for telling the truth, because I live in the world's largest child sex trafficking industrial complex to ever exist, the United States of baby rape, responsible for a genocide of children, raped, murdered, and sold for decades, thoroughly proven. I've got senator's testimony, we've got the Epstein files, we've got all kinds of stuff. So let me find the First Amendment here. Here we go. We're in the amendments now. Here we go. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. I have endured domestic terrorism by the United States government for 1,714 days for reporting child sex trafficking of my 7-year-old son by serial child rapist, serial child murderer, child sex trafficker, State Judge Kelly L. Hansen of Marietta, California. So I would consider that a grievance, and I'd like to redress that with my government. And for redressing these grievances and exercising my First Amendment constitutional right, I have endured years, almost 5 years, 1,714 days of physical assaults, financial terrorism, 4 mental health holds, threats to be murdered, homelessness intentionally, falsified background to prevent me from working, termination of Western Union, basically anything and everything they could do to stick a dick in my 7-year-old son and not be held accountable for it. That's what's the top priority of the Tel Aviv States of America, is sticking dicks in children and making sure that it's okay, that nobody gets in trouble for it. So I'm wondering, which one is more fake, the WWE or WDC? I mean, at this point, I'm beginning to think WDC is more fake. There's no action. There's no movement. At least with WWE, those guys like exercise, go to the gym, and make it look real. I mean, they do some things that look convincingly real, even though we all know wrestling is fake. But no, WDC, the Washington, D.C., they just don't care. Everybody knows it's fake. I mean, we got the world's most famous child rapist for a president. We have a Congress of child molesters. We have a cabinet of child molesters. We have intelligence agencies who are domestic terrorists. And the list goes on and on and on. And they really don't care. They really don't care about children. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about our country. They don't care about we the people. They don't care about themselves. They're just a satanic occult of sexual deviance. Pretty much, no more, no less. And to prove everything I'm saying, the president himself says our elections are rigged. How many times have you heard Donald J. Trump, the pedophile punk, say that the U.S. elections are rigged? Whether it's California, Georgia, he was stolen, they cheated. How many times have you heard the president of the United States of America say that U.S. elections are rigged? I mean, I can't even count. So if the president of the United States of America says the elections are rigged, we get in trouble for saying that the elections are rigged, that Tel Aviv is taking congressional seats here in the United States of America. Do you see the irony in that? The president could say the elections are rigged, but if we say Israel owns our government, then, we can't say that. We have a slush fund for victims of weaponized government. $1.776 billion, basically $1.8 billion, supposedly being put into a slush fund to pay out victims of weaponized government. But when I say that I've been assaulted 3 times by the FBI, I had to live in a car for 3 years because the FBI falsified my background, prevented me from working, terminated all of my financial resources, no public assistance, no food stamps, no Western Union access, threatened to murder me several times across many states, and placed me on 4 mental health holds across 3 states, all for reporting State Judge Kelly L. Hansen sticking his dick in my 7-year-old son, causing physical injuries. I'm crazy, they say. I have mental health issues for reporting that. But yet we have a $1.8 billion slush fund being set up by the United States government for victims of weaponized government. So make that make sense for me. So the government has been weaponized. There's a fund to pay victims of a weaponized government. But when I say the government weaponized against me for reporting child sex trafficking, I get put on mental health holds. So I'm confused. I'm trying to make this make sense. It's making my head hurt. The stupidity, the ignorance, the arrogance. Back to the president. The United States president says he has a 99% approval rating in Israel. And he's considering running for prime minister of Israel. Which I just wish everybody who's so pro-Israel, why don't you just go to Israel? Why do you live in America? Just, go live in Israel. If you love Israel so much and Israel loves you so much and it's such a great place and everybody's so friendly and happy and healthy, just go live in Israel. Why do you need to be in America? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. But it's kind of eye-opening that the U.S. president says he has a 99% approval rating in a foreign country. Why are foreign countries approving of the U.S. president by 99%? Unless he's serving foreign countries, posing as a U.S. president, in which case that would be treason and sedition, punishable by death. Yeah, that's where we're at. So on to the shadow banning. And it looks like we're going to have a short show tonight. I'm going to be honest, I'm exhausted. We're doing 4 10s this week to do our 40 hours by Thursday to get 3-day weekend. So 10s plus 2-a-days at the gym, it takes a toll on you, plus reading, plus praying, meditating, the usual. So Valhalla, Nate at Valhalla, showed his podcast numbers tonight, and he did 2 shows where he referenced Thomas Massie and gave positive publicity to Thomas Massie before the congressional race. And those 2 shows were cut in half when it came to views. He averages around 250,000 views an episode that he does. Some of them actually hit 400,000, 350, 400,000. But for some reason, he showed about 9 to 12 different shows that had 200,000 or more views. And for some reason, the shows he did mentioning Thomas Massie only got 100,000 views, cut in half. That's shadow banning. See, what this algorithm is doing is picking up on trigger words, and when it hears it, you get shuffled to the bottom of the deck. So nobody sees your videos, nobody hears your content, which, if that's what they want to do to me, I'm not giving up my rights. I'm not. This is the law. I have rights. I'm a free citizen of a free nation, the United States of America. Although we are owned and operated by Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, which brings me to my next point. There was actually a headline in the Israeli newspaper saying how the 4th congressional seat of Kentucky was taken by pro-Israel. So we have foreign countries putting in their newspapers how they own American government congressional seats. Is this not Orwellian? I mean, is this not George Orwell to a T, an Orwellian wet dream? I've never seen or imagined anything like this would happen here. It's very, very exhausting. And it's very, very disappointing that money can do this to people. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to, money. It's all about money. And pedophiles, of course. I've never imagined that the United States of America would be taken down by pedophiles. People who have sex with children are destroying our country, or pretty much have destroyed our country at this point. I mean, the Department of Justice is done, the FBI is done, Congress is done, the White House is done. Nobody even cares about these people. Nobody believes anything these people say. Iran has more credibility in the United States of America than the United States government. That's a fact. That's the truth. We have a president who's raped 13-year-old girls, documented, who's married to a prostitute, documented. We have churches trafficking children, from Greg Laurie and Harvest Church to TPUSA to Victor Marks. So claims to be a pastor running for governor of Colorado, human trafficker, child trafficker. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And it's like they're actually just rubbing it in our faces that, yeah, they get to rape, murder, and sell children, and there's nothing we can do about it. I know my son is dead since 2024, according to Capitol Police Intelligence. So I'll never see my son alive again because he was born in the United States of America. Maybe if he was born in Russia or China or Kuwait or Iran, maybe if he was born in any other country besides the United States, I might be able to see my child again. But no, my son had to be born on U.S. soil, and the United States government is responsible for a genocide of children using the Safe Family Adoption Act, confidentiality laws, CPS, and corrupt judges, attorneys, lawyers, the intelligence agencies, law enforcement, on and on and on. Just one giant satanic occult of child rapists, murderers, and pedophiles. So that's where we're at as a country. That's where we're at as a society, and it's disheartening to say the least. We're going to read 2 Bible verses tonight because I was listening to John MacArthur last night, as I do every night. If you haven't had a chance, you can go on YouTube. There are literally, I don't know how many John MacArthur sermons. I've heard so many of them, so many times. I listen to, every night I go to sleep, I put on John MacArthur and listen to a sermon as I go to sleep. Every day I'm listening to Christian content, motivational videos. I have to feed my mind and my spirit the absolute best because my government is doing everything it can to silence, discredit me, and make me into what they are, which is a psychotic, demonic, occult of creatures. And I refuse to give up my soul. I refuse to give up my morals, my values, my integrity, my love for God, or my love for my child. So we're going to go with Psalm 144:1. Blessed be the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. Now, why would God want to train people for war and battle? Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. This is a spiritual war we're having right now. This is a religious war. We are in the middle of a religious war. There is a satanic occult destroying our country, just trying to convince everybody to drink the Kool-Aid, join the little baby raping occult, or be attacked. Repeatedly, attrition. They're using attrition on U.S. citizens to rape, murder, and sell children. And they actually have the arrogance and the audacity to be like, so you think the government's raping, murdering, and eating children? I know it. There's nothing to think about. It's well documented for decades. I've proven it over and over and over again. You can check this channel. Go back in the history of my shows. Thomas Aquinas, the CIA, MK Ultra, Operation Mockingbird, Georgia Senator Nancy Schaefer, the Eagle Summit Conference speech, the Safe Family Adoption Act, as I said. I mean, I could go on and on and on. All the murders, JFK, MLK, Charlie Kirk, Joan Rivers, Kobe Bryant, Paul Walker, Chester Bennington, Anthony Bourdain, Obama chef, on and on and on. The Clintons' body counts like, what, 63, 67? I don't know. Since they've been out of office, they might have added a few. We might be pushing 70 to 100 by now of the Clintons. George W. Bush, or George H.W. Bush, eating the entrails of a newborn baby on a yacht. That is documented in the Epstein files. That is documented. So that's another trigger word you can't say, or you'll be shadow banned or blocked. You can't say Epstein files. You can't say Thomas Massey. You can't say Israel. You can't say Tel Aviv. You can't say Jerusalem. You can't say Jew. You can say whatever you want about Muslims, Christians, or Buddhists. You can say whatever you want about, the truth, morals, values, and integrity will get you banned. But you can talk about anything else you want. So we're also going to read one more Bible verse. And that's going to be Isaiah. Let me double check what the verse was. 54:17. So let's go to Isaiah 54:17. No weapon that is formed against you will prosper, and every tongue that accuses you in judgment you will condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their vindication is from me, declares the Lord. And it is my faith in God, my trust in God, that allows me to endure this 1,714 days of domestic terrorism by the United States government, so they could steal my son at 7 years old, stick a dick in my son, murder my son, and then mock, ridicule, laugh at me, call me crazy, assault me, and make me live in squalor for years so they could get away with it. Which, to be honest with you, they didn't get away with anything. Kelly L. Hansen didn't get away with it. I make videos every single day about him. The whole world knows about him. I've put in for federal casework. I've put in with podcasters, media outlets, congressmen, senators, Department of Justice, Homeland Security, Secret Service, U.S. Marshals, local law enforcement. I have told everyone possible. I have shouted from the rooftops that Kelly L. Hansen is a 17-year serial child rapist, serial child killer, posing as a state judge, and he thinks his qualified immunity covers rape, murder, and sale of children. So nobody gets away with anything, and nobody gets out of life alive. These are two things that are undeniable. Nobody gets out of life alive. Nobody. You got to die to leave here. And when you die, you will be judged, and you will spend eternity wherever your choices took you. It's as simple as that. So I endure, I persevere, and in the words of Daniel, I have fought the good fight. I have done all I could, and I will continue to do this every single day. Phone calls, emails, YouTube videos, federal casework. I have a lawsuit in with the U.S. courts. Of course, they had to go to Riverside County. That's where the federal court is, the U.S. court on 12th Street in Riverside County. That lawsuit will be arriving at the court on Friday, as I requested delivery confirmation. Someone has to sign for it, and I will see where that goes. I will also be applying for the so-called slush fund, which is actually just money laundering, more money for the president and his cabinet, the $1.8 billion for victims of a weaponized government. So the website for that is not up. The portal is not open, but when it is open and up, I will be applying for that. And I will stay this course until my dying breath, or until retribution is made and my son is returned, dead or alive, toenails, teeth, fingernails, and hair, so I could have closure and move on with my life. And that's where we are in the United States of America in 2026. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I do appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe. I still made it 25 minutes. I'm sorry. I try to keep these at 30 minutes or less. And I'm sorry for the repetition, but that's all I know to do is keep telling the truth. And the truth doesn't change. So if you haven't noticed, lies are always twisting and contorting and changing. The truth doesn't change, and I'm going to stand for the truth because that was the deal I made when I surrendered my life to Jesus Christ. Is the truth, the way, the life. The way, the truth, the life. So the way is the truth. So I will stay this course. I appreciate any support. I appreciate anyone like, sharing, subscribing to this channel and these videos. Have a good night. I will see you tomorrow.